The start of training camp all the way up until now, and I'm here to tell you the Indiana Fever biggest issue is Stephanie White. No doubt about it. I feel like she's not a good leader to help them make it to that next level. Film do not lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't, but
There's an ancient and undeniable proverb in the world of professional sports. Teams play exactly how they practice. From legendary coaches like John Wooden to Pat Riley and Dawn Staley, the message has always remained the same. Practice habits eventually become game day reality. After the humiliating opening night loss by the Indiana Fever to the Dallas Wings, the Fever front office and social media team released practice footage in an attempt to calm the growing panic surrounding the organization. The goal was obvious: show the fan that the team was locked in, working hard, and correcting mistakes. But instead of reassuring people, the footage created even more concern. Serious basketball fans were not distracted by edited highlights, smiling faces, or flashy drills. They focused on the details that actually matter: footwork, defensive communication, effort, and intensity. What the footage appeared to reveal was a troubling lack of discipline and accountability at the core of the organization. The defensive energy looked inconsistent. The urgency seemed missing, and the overall atmosphere gave off the impression of a team lacking structure after surrendering 107 points. Critics are now questioning whether Stephanie White has full control of the roster and whether Caitlin Clark is being forced to carry too much responsibility physically and mentally while the rest of the team struggles to match her intensity.
Back here, doing nothing. Now, granted, this isn't the whole practice, but to me, it's a lot of people walking around. They're joking, they're playing. This is like an undisciplined basketball team. Every time you see Stephanie White, she's standing around, clapping, cheering, not coaching, looking very undisciplined. Now, what I'm going to start doing, and everybody else probably is going to copy this, I know they is.
When you watch practice footage from true championship organizations like the Las Vegas Aces or the New York Liberty, the intensity immediately jumps off the screen. Their practices often look harder and more demanding than actual games. Players dive on the floor for loose balls. Defenders fight aggressively through screens, and every mistake is treated like a crisis that must be corrected instantly. If someone misses a defensive rotation, the head coach blows a whistle immediately, stops the entire scrimmage, and demands accountability until the play is executed correctly. In comparison, the recent practice footage from the Indiana Fever created a completely different impression. The pace looked slow. Players appeared to be casually jogging through offensive sets. Guards were drifting under screens without urgency, and defenders often stood flat-footed with their hands at their sides. There seemed to be very little physical resistance or competitive fire anywhere on the court. What made the situation even more concerning for critics was seeing Stephanie White calmly observing the action without stopping drills or demanding greater effort. In professional basketball, when a coach allows low-energy execution during practice, many believe it sends a dangerous message that mediocre effort will also be tolerated when the lights come on during real games.
Earlier today, another one. Where's Stephanie White? Standing there scratching her fucking head. She's scratching her head. Literally scratching her head. She do not know what she's doing. This is what she's literally doing. Scratching her head. Not coaching. Bro. Keep telling y'all, and there's more.
Critics are now accusing Stephanie White of running a relaxed country club environment instead of a demanding professional basketball culture. After the post-game press conference where she pointed to over-rotations, defensive breakdowns, and poor transition defense, many fans looked back at the released practice footage and came away even more frustrated. Their argument is simple. Teams do not suddenly fail at transition defense during games if those situations are being drilled at full intensity in practice every single day. In elite basketball programs, coaches demand maximum effort on every possession, and players who fail to sprint back on defense are immediately held accountable. Championship-level coaches create an atmosphere where lazy transition defense is unacceptable and mistakes have real consequences. But the practice footage from the Indiana Fever appeared to show a team operating without that sense of urgency or pressure. Players looked comfortable making mistakes, There seemed to be little visible accountability from the coaching staff, and critics described the environment as one built around toxic positivity, where poor defensive habits are tolerated instead of corrected, with the team struggling defensively near the bottom of the league rankings. Many believe the biggest victim of this lack of structure is franchise centerpiece Caitlin Clark, who is being asked to carry an enormous burden, while the team around her continues searching for consistency and discipline.
Yeah, so might be that. And for us too, just managing minutes early. We don't want to gas out, our players, and we probably did that in the second half. We probably should have went back to our rotations a little bit quicker, and shortened minutes.
So just for starters, how did you feel about?
Many observers have pointed to Caitlin Clark's body language during recent practice clips as evidence of the growing disconnect between her pace and the rest of the team. Clark plays with relentless speed and urgency, processing the floor faster than almost anyone around her. In pick-and-roll situations, she appears to expect sharp screens, aggressive cuts, and explosive movement to the basket. But critics argue that too often her teammates are moving at a completely different tempo. There are moments where she delivers passes to spaces where players should have been, only for the timing to break down because the route was run too slowly. In transition, Clark frequently looks ready to push the ball at full speed while teammates trail the play instead of sprinting into position. The result, according to many fans and analysts, is a star player constantly forced to overcompensate for the lack of intensity around her. Some believe this nonstop pressure is contributing to the physical wear and tear she has experienced, including visible frustration and ongoing concerns about fatigue and back discomfort during games. The criticism surrounding Stephanie White is that the current culture does not fully match Clark's hyper-competitive mentality, creating a dangerous imbalance where one player is carrying an outsized mental and physical burden in an attempt to keep the offense functioning at an elite level.
So we'll do more in practice today, and then we'll again evaluate after every day. I know that it's a boring answer, but it's the thing that you do when you come back from injury. It's like you go through a practice, you add a little bit more. You see how you are post-practice, you see how you are the next day, and then we evaluate. It really, literally is one day at a time.
You mentioned with Caitlin and just the adjustments during the game, that kind of being an ongoing thing. Could you just expand upon that? Is it like injury related or just kind of just basic maintenance?
No, it's basic maintenance, and I think when you think about the expansion of medical teams in the W, it's like every.
Well, Caitlin bet not be hurt. She bet not be hurt. She
the professional team, like you have more hands on duty and more people on duty and more hands on deck, and you can go back and you can get regular maintenance adjustments. Now,
I believe this year Caitlin possibly brought in her own doctor.
Fans of the Indiana Fever believe they can already see the warning signs carrying over from practice into real games. Many pointed to the lack of communication visible in practice footage and immediately connected it to defensive breakdowns during the opener against the Dallas Wings, including moments where Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull appeared to collide or miscommunicate defensively. Others noticed weak rebounding fundamentals during drills, and later watched the Fever surrender critical offensive rebounds in overtime. To critics, allowing 107 points on opening night was not simply bad luck or an isolated poor performance. It was a predictable outcome of a training camp and practice environment they view as lacking discipline and structure. Many now argue that if the Fever want to save their season, reduce the physical strain on Caitlin Clark, and restore excitement around a franchise, the culture inside the gym must change dramatically. The growing belief among frustrated fans is that Stephanie White needs to adopt a far tougher coaching approach, demanding sharper defensive rotations, maximum effort in transition, and full accountability from every player on the roster regardless of experience, reputation, or salary.
And ball screen defense. Those are two areas that were glaring weaknesses in game one, and so we're going to continue to work on that.
And then for you guys going on the road for the first time this season, what's the mindset or the mentality as you guys get a chance to go out to LA and try to get your first win of the season?
Just continue to get better, get 1% better every day. We want to clean up some of the things that we had breakdown wise on the defensive end against Dallas, and we'll look to clean it up against LA.
With the defensive breakdowns in transition, is that just maybe, what do you chalk that up to? Is it fatigue? Is it just players still getting up to speed? How do you do that?
I think it's quite a few things. One, I think it's awareness. If you got to either offensive rebound or you got to get back and get matched up. I think two, it's
The early season honeymoon surrounding the Indiana Fever appears to be fading quickly as the realities of the regular season begin to expose deeper concerns about the team's culture and discipline. For many critics, the preseason hype no longer matters once games begin and weaknesses are displayed under the bright lights of national television. The conversation has now shifted beyond simple box scores and into larger questions about accountability, practice intensity, defensive structure, and leadership within the organization. Much of the debate centers around whether Stephanie White has been too lenient during practices and whether the team has developed what some frustrated fans describe as a country club mentality. At the same time, there is growing concern that Caitlin Clark is carrying too much of the competitive burden herself, constantly operating at a higher intensity level than the rest of the roster. Supporters and critics alike are now closely analyzing every piece of footage, every defensive breakdown, and every sign of frustration as the pressure surrounding the Fever continues to build early in the season.